My name is Neil Patel, and I help companies generate more revenue through digital marketing. Entrepreneur Magazine said I was the #1 marketer in the world, and they also said I created one of the 100 most brilliant companies. I started my first website at the age of 16. I took all the money that I earned from working at an amusement park, and I paid a marketing firm. The marketing firm provided no results, and I quickly learned that I wasn't alone. Out of my frustration and from being broke, I had no choice but to learn marketing. My first client was a power supply manufacturer. I helped them generate another $25 million in sales, and from that point, I realized the power of marketing. I helped everyone that I could, and I built my reputation by being honest and over-delivering. I've helped companies like Google, NBC, Viacom, General Motors, eBay, but nothing's more satisfying than helping small business owners succeed. I founded 4 multi-million-dollar companies, and I've learned all the mistakes that you should avoid. I've written about them on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, and even on my own blogs. It's so awesome to know that colleges from all around the world are teaching my material in their classroom. Over the years, I've received awards from the President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the United Nations. People believe marketing is expensive and difficult. Fortunately, that's not true. There is a formula. Even if you don't have a technical bone in your body, you can get results. And my mission is to share this formula with you. Hello, everyone. We're excited for today's webinar. It's going to be fun. So let me share my screen so you guys can see the presentation and enter in full screen. Can you guys see it? I'll take that as a yes. So today we're going to be covering 7 strategies that'll get you powerful results for your marketing and sales team. So it's an awesome, fun webinar where we have quite a few people here. And this webinar is brought to you by my company, NP Digital, as well as Pipedrive, and they have tons of experience on the sales end. So a little bit about me. You guys already know I'm the co-founder of NP Digital, which is an ad agency, UberSess, a few other tools, help companies of all sizes grow their traffic. Not really trying to say this to brag. I don't really think I know everything. I still have a lot to learn, but it's more so to show that I wouldn't have, worked with all these big brands and have all these awards if it wasn't for the results that we're producing. So their work. So when we break down the strategies and the tactics that you should be implementing to grow your marketing and sales, just make sure you follow along. If you just take even one of the things that we teach today and implement it, you will do better. So you guys already know me. Want to introduce the team. Kristen, do you want to give an overview of yourself?
Sure, thank you. I'm the SVP of Marketing at NPXL. I have over 20 years of experience in marketing, primarily focusing on performance, content, and growth marketing across multiple industries.
Awesome. And we also have the global CMO of Pipedrive. They've done an amazing job growing. They sold to Vista Equity, I believe it was, for arm and a leg. I believe it was over $1 billion. But they did an amazing job in marketing. Do you want to give a quick overview on yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, everybody. I'm Heidrun Lade, Chief Marketing Officer at CRM solution provider Pipedrive. Having been involved in driving business growth across various industries over the last 17 years, I'm a really big believer in customer-focused marketing and sales enablement through data, robust processes, and technology. And as such, I'm seriously excited to be part of today's webinar. So thanks for having me.
And we also have the CEO of Saleshive. If you haven't checked out Saleshive, make sure you check it out. Do you want to give a quick overview of yourself?
Got to unmute. I started the company in 2016. We do outsourced sales development for 200 B2B technology and service companies. So we employ about 200 to 300 US-based sales development reps, all remote across the United States.
That's awesome. So now 7 strategies that'll get you powerful results for your marketing and sales teams. But before we dive into the strategies, we first got to cover why sales and marketing alignment is so crucial for growth. In the US alone, lack of sales and marketing coordination costs business an estimated $1 trillion annually. That's according to LinkedIn. That's a lot of money. And sales teams spend roughly half their time on low quality prospects. Salespeople aren't cheap. The last thing you want them to do is spend their time talking to people who will never close or who aren't the right fit. Because even if you close the people who aren't the right fit, they're just going to churn. And companies with aligned sales and marketing teams are 67% more efficient at closing deals. And 87% of sales and marketing leaders believe that collaboration drives growth. And we've seen it ourselves. When they work separately, you just don't grow as fast. So let's dive right into the strategies.
So strategy 1, you want to send automated check-in emails when a prospect fills out a lead form. They are an effective way to keep your leads engaged and improve the early experience with your company. It saves time for your team by allowing them to focus on more qualified leads that are ready to convert. And it's also a great way to align sales and marketing teams by having them create the unified messaging together. So do you want to spend more time on better qualified leads? Well, of course you do. Leveraging the automated communications allows you to reach out to prospects with personalized messaging that includes content that is related to the marketing messaging that they engaged with. According to Invesp, 80% of automation users see improved lead generation and 77% see more conversion. And when sales and marketing collaborate, the message is cohesive from awareness to conversion. So using tools like Salesforce and Pipedrive make it simple to automate this process by sending a series of emails to leads that have engaged with your marketing. For example, when a prospect fills out a form in exchange for a free download, you can immediately send a thank you email. A few days later, send an offer related to the download, such as a webinar or more in-depth content. If they convert, you can use an indicator in your CRM to notify the sales team to follow up immediately, stop the marketing sequence, and switch to a sales follow-up sequence. JuiceBar, can you go back one slide? Thank you. JuiceBar is a full service provider for electric vehicle charging stations. And basically, they wanted to improve their data usage and reporting. They also wanted to automate their work, reduce their manual labor, and save time and increase accuracy. To do this, JuiceBar is using Pipedrive with Lead Booster add-on and several integrations like Zapier, and they have some very clever users of workflow automation. As a result, they have saved hundreds of hours of data re-entry. They're getting more leads. Their sales cycle was cut in half in 18 months from approximately 70 days to 30 days, and they have doubled their traffic to lead conversion rate, which is pretty incredible. Next slide. When it comes to nurturing your leads, timing is everything. Too often, sales assume silence is a sign of no interest, when in reality, it can just be bad timing. So you want to start with the best practices when building your email cadence, then test to optimize for engagement. The number of touches it takes to convert a lead will vary by segment, industry, offer, message. In general, it takes 5 to 8 touches to engage a new customer. So definitely don't assume that one email is enough. And automated check-in emails are a great way to do this. They're a great solution, and they are effective because they save time and resources, improve the experience for the prospect, and increase engagement.
Excellent. Thanks, Kristen. So on to strategy number 2, which is all about making your communications and campaigns more effective by paying attention to segmenting your contacts, as it allows you to create more relevant and personalized information for your customers. A lot of organizations already run some form of segmentation, but quite often keep it a little bit too high level. and therefore not quite giving and getting that value increase to and from customers that frankly is possible to achieve in today's digital world. So think about it. If we take a personal example of everyday life on the next slide, frankly, would you talk to your mum the same way you talk to your friends over dinner? Or think a colleague, a new colleague versus someone you've already worked with for many years. I mean, giving the same message to everyone just doesn't work. So leading in a business setting, if you think about it, 2 lost leads. But if you get personalization right, and let's take a look at the next slide, using a multitude of info points, be that demographics that you have on your customers, the location info, or behavioral signals that you can collect on site or by actively asking for user data. Using all of that, it can really boost your customer engagement rates. Of course, you shouldn't attempt to do personalization through segmentation manually, as it will frankly completely overburden you operationally or even lead to errors. But instead, automation is key here. And so on that, let's take a quick look at a case study on the next slide from Snug, an Australian company offering a subscription-based digital rental housing platform. Snug used spreadsheets for quite some time to track their sales and manage lead communication. But frankly, as the company grew, all of this got harder and harder for them to really give this manual and low segmentation approach. As a result, they were looking for a cloud-based solution that would allow them to segment their audience very carefully, whilst making data access easy and frankly, for them, very necessary everywhere. So after a year of using Autopilot and their real estate CRM powered by Pipedrive, Snug was able to fully automate their B2B sales process. The seamless integration between the 2 apps made it possible for their sales team to quite successfully prioritize the right leads, establish a lead qualification system that works, and as a result of it, actually grew their prospect list by 40%, reduced the sales cycle, and achieved better conversions thanks to a more personalized customer experience. So therefore, when it comes to deciding on the best segmentation criteria, what to think about on the next slide. Very much the key message here is choose your segmentation criteria that are relevant for your industry and your particular audience. Thinking in a B2B setting, you might choose a company profile, thinking the size of the company, the revenue bands that the companies come with as a first criteria. And then from there, at funnel stage or a lead score differentiation. You could also add acquisition source and then the engagement level you've seen from the audience, such as the number of times they've visited a website, and you can use tools such as Lead Feeder or Lead Booster for that. So it's all really relevant points to really paint that rich segmentation picture. In a B2C setting, and taking the examples here on slide, you might start off with the demographic signals, age, gender, etc., to then add on-site behavior. Where have they gone? What path have they chosen? The tenure, are they a new lead? Have they just signed up? Have they already visited multiple times? And then the types of engagement levels. So there isn't really that one-size-fits-all segmentation recipe because it's something particular to your business. So my advice to you is test different methods that help you find what fits your audience and your business best. So lots to get out of strategy number 2. But what more is there that could boost your marketing and sales results? So let's maybe move on to strategy number 3. And that is all about breaking functional silos by bringing CRM and marketing automation together, creating better customer experience flow as a result. If you look at data, according to Harvard Business Review, organizations that break down communication silos, number 1, earn higher margins, 2, inspire greater customer loyalty, And number 3, gain that competitive edge that, let's face it, we're all after. So pretty much what's not to like about this strategy. Integrating your CRM and marketing automation tool doesn't just make things a little easier, though, for your execution teams, but as I said, also has the potential to really boost revenue through better customer experience. So what is that winning ingredient here that you gain from such an integration? I guess besides that good personalization potential, which we just talked about in strategy number 2, the tool integration that you get here will give you speed to your winning recipe. Speed making all the difference in your customer experience, and therefore increasing your chance of conversion, frankly, pretty dramatically. I'm sure a lot of you know how dreadful it is to go to get kind of good lead management when the tools aren't quite talking to each other, therefore the data isn't quite connecting with one another. And not only does that cost you extra time, which is frankly of essence, but it can also lead to lack of insight, or even worse, making errors. So all factors that frankly lead to lost results, making tool integration between marketing and sales so important. And on that note, I think at Pipedrive, in addition to our integration offering with many popular automation tools, I am absolutely thrilled to announce that our very own fully integrated marketing automation solution will launch in a few days' time, bringing marketing and that sales effort 100% together. So definitely want to check out, as just going by our early adopters, such as a Latvian corporate education company, Tainify, on the next slide. Their results of early adoption of the solution has really shown improved performance by making that use of this new, easy-to-use marketing and sales integration effort. So by removing the tool and therefore data silos, they were able to become faster in their action taking, more cost-effective, and more operationally efficient. And that leading ultimately to more and better customer comps and experience, and therefore showing higher engagement and a better conversion rate. So therefore, my advice to you on the webinar is note down as your next step to number 1, on the next slide, review your current marketing and sales tech stack so that you are fully aware of your status quo. Then identify if any of these tools have crossovers so you can simplify. And then from there, look for tools that allow you to integrate your tech stacks with one another. So some will integrate easily with others. So for example, Pipedrive having 300 tool integration points, so pretty easy to find the right one. Other tools need extra connectors, for which you, for example, can use Zapier. So to me, it's a go as marketing and sales tool integration is that must-do strategy number 3. And over to Kristen to talk about strategy number 4.
Thanks, Heidrun. As we talk about the integrations and integrating your tools and setting up cadences and automation, it's really important that marketing and sales communication cadences are aligned so that you don't overdo your interaction with the prospects. You don't want to reach out once or twice because that's not often enough to convert. However, there is a very fine line between being persistent and being annoying. So next slide. It's confusing for a prospect to receive a marketing message that is completely unrelated to the conversation that they've had with a salesperson. It feels like the company isn't listening, and it can definitely do more harm than good. For example, if someone reaches out to the NP Digital sales team about getting help with paid ads, you wouldn't want to send them a marketing message about social media because the prospect's already told you what they're interested in. And something we do at NP Digital, working with sales to create outreach communications is part of our standard campaign planning process. An additional added bonus to doing this is it improves the effectiveness of campaigns, but it also improves the relationship and communication between the teams overall. Next slide. Thank you. The alignment is also important for optimizing the timing of the communications. There's no set number of time or spacing between messages that works for every funnel. Every funnel is different, and it's really important to test and optimize after they launch. Reaching out too often or reaching out with conflicting messages can overwhelm your prospects and quite literally hurt your lead conversion rate. You can use indicators within your CRM like Pipedrive to stop your marketing drip campaigns when sales steps in. And this ensures that customers are not getting both messages at the same time. A great example is NJ Media. They struggled to attract clients at the start of the pandemic because marketing budgets were kind of cut across the board as there was uncertainty with consumer behavior. So using Pipedrive and a Zapier integration, they built a segmented email marketing process that focused on their ideal customers. And what this did is cut the time spent on sales and allowed the team to offer more personalized messages. This effectively shortened their sales process from 20 to 40 days down to 11 days, landed them 7 new high-value clients, and also help them expand into a new market. So how can your team do this as well? It's really important to leverage your tools. And you want to create highly targeted campaigns. Within those campaigns, you want to adjust based on actions. And this would be the user action. So if a customer reaches out for a demo, which means they've clearly moved on to sales, you definitely do not want marketing to continue sending them messages asking them to sign up for a demo. Number 3, don't be afraid to test different cadences. Start by looking at your most valuable customers. How often did they get messages? And then apply that to your new cadences and then test and optimize as they run. Very important is number 4. Make sure your marketing is turned off when leads move to sales. And then finally, don't be afraid to send a message a few weeks out. If the sales team wasn't able to convert the lead, it's always good to try to re-engage the prospect and keep your business top of mind when they're ready to make a decision.
Now let's go into strategy number 5. This is one of my favorites. Run retargeting campaigns, focus on upselling your existing customers. So you guys see a lot of retargeting campaigns out there. And with retargeting campaigns, let's say you're on an e-commerce site, they're selling mattresses, you don't buy the mattress, you go browse the web, you see ads for the mattress, eventually you may even see those ads offering a discount, you click, you may buy. Not everyone clicks, but a percentage of them do. And that's what most people do with their remarketing. But what a lot of people don't do with their remarketing is running remarketing campaigns to existing customers, pitching upsells. And it's a very effective strategy, right? And it's one of the best ways to lower your customer acquisition costs. We found it to be one of the cheapest and most effective way. The cost per click, what you'll find, is much higher than most of your cold campaigns, but the conversion rate is through the roof and your overall CPA is much lower. And when you're running retargeting campaigns focused on upselling your existing customers, you want to make sure that retargeting ads bring current customers back with lower cost to acquire a customer, right? You got to lower your CAC and increase your ad ROI. So you want to optimize not necessarily for the cost per click, but you want to optimize for the cost per conversion because you're targeting very, very warm people. And you want to focus your retargeting ads on platforms that your customers are using most, whether it's Facebook or Google or email, right? You can do ads through Gmail or YouTube, whatever it may be. You got to focus on those platforms. And when you're focusing on those platforms, make sure you rotate up the creatives often, because what you'll find is you don't have tons of customers versus how many new people there are. So they're going to get display fatigue, in which they're going to continually see your creatives. And if you don't rotate them up often enough, the frequency is going to be too high and it's going to mess up your ROI. And the reason you want to do this is if someone sees your ad 7, 8, 10 times and they're not clicking on it, why would you keep showing them the same one over and over again? Try different creatives, try different messaging, try different text. all this stuff will help improve your CAC. And, take your learnings from one social platform to another, or one channel to another, and that'll help you do well. And make sure you align the messaging with what salespeople are also telling your leads as well. So then that way there's congruency and you'll have a higher chance of closing these deals when it comes to upsells. Here's the example. MyFix Cycles, they generated 1,529% ROI using retargeting ads. Now, they're a Canadian bicycle company, and they're struggling to see the ROI with Google Ads. Working with Webrunner Media Group, they implemented Facebook retargeting ads in Google Ads, and they did this by just doing pixels on their site. They installed the Facebook pixel. They created 3 different audiences, and they emphasized free shipping. They tested the ad frequency. If the frequency was too high, you rotate up creatives, as I mentioned. And in essence, this resulted in a higher ROI. And what I found is when you're showing people a creative and it's not converting, your creative is usually logical or emotional. And in essence, you're pitching people through emotion to try to get them to convert, or logic. So think about which creative you're using or messaging you're using. If you're using, that emotional pitch, and the emotional pitch isn't working, try using the logical one. If you start off with logic and the logic didn't work, then switch it up and try the emotional one. Using one or the other usually ends up driving conversion. You just have to figure out which one works best with your customer. So some steps for you: note which platforms your customers are hanging out on. Spend your time and energy on those first. Even if there's some other platforms that they somewhat spend time on, still mainly focus on the ones where all your customers are. And then you want to implement retargeting, ideally across multiple platforms, so that way you can increase your reach. In marketing, they call it the rule of 7. When someone sees your brand 7 times or interacts with your brand 7 times, they're much more likely to evangelize, purchase, talk about you. And I get your remarketing existing customers, but it's still the same thing. The more they see you, the more top of mind you are. And you want to set up your tracking, right? Because if you set up your tracking correctly, you can figure out your ROI. If you don't set up your tracking correctly, and a lot of people mess up this step, your numbers are all going to be muddled together. You're not going to get a good sense of what's working, what's not, and you may end up spending in areas that just don't have a great ROI. And you, of course, want to test your frequency as well as touch points. And what I mean by this is, yes, you can show ad 7-8 times, but as we talked about earlier, you may want to change up your messaging, even if you're upselling existing customers. And by testing the frequency of that and the messaging types that you show them over a period of a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you may find that one frequency over another may boost conversion rates. And don't forget to turn off ads after they convert. This is a big mistake. A lot of people keep spending money advertising to people who have already converted on the offer that they're pitching them on. Now, if you want to show them an ad for another offer after that, that's fine, but just don't show them the ad for the same thing that they just bought.
Thanks, Neil. So strategy 6, you want to integrate your call data with marketing tools to personalize caller experience and improve content rates. This is really important. The data across sales and marketing working together really drives the success of both teams. Currently, 66% of customers expect companies to understand their needs. And you cannot do that when your data is siloed in 5 different tools. Integrating data with marketing tools improves personalization, helps you deliver a better customer experience, and improves contact rates because they know that you understand their needs. So are you making the most of your customer data? In digitally powered businesses today, data is no longer a side strategy. It is central to success. Many companies are still siloing data by using too many tools and not connecting these tools. And bad data costs organizations an estimated of $9.7 million a year. So bad data basically causes a loss of time and a loss of opportunity. If a salesperson picks up the phone to call a contact only to find out they have the wrong number, or offers a demo for when they've already done one, That's wasted time that could have been spent on more revenue driving tasks. Sales already spends half their day on non-sales tasks. And like Neil said earlier, salespeople are expensive. Instead, connect your call software to your CRM to get actionable insights. This data can be used to help plan campaigns for social, search, content. For example, it might help highlight common pain points. This feeds back into your marketing campaigns and messaging for your products. It also improves sales outcomes by allowing sales to quickly see where a prospect is, where they're struggling, and what they need to convert. So a great example is Visionaire Media. They're a video production and content creation company for B2B clients. It was hit hard by the COVID pandemic fallout. They were looking to save money and improve their sales process by switching to a better CRM. Plus, their existing solution costs over $12,000 a month. After switching to Pipedrive, they saved hundreds of dollars a month and had access to more features, including automation, click-to-talk features, and the ability to record conversations. It also allowed them to save money and improve their sales process with additional features. So how to make the most of this? Basically, your call stats are often forgotten. They can do more than just track when and how long you talk to customers. This kind of ties back to earlier where we were talking about aligning sales with the marketing campaign creation. It's important to circle back sales insights to the marketing campaigns. You can track context, dial outs, even track specific phrases, which can help with future messaging. See if the call and CRM tools you use can be integrated directly if you have them. Then find a solution like Pipedrive or Zapier if the current tools don't integrate. Make a list of the metrics you want to track, set really actionable KPIs on those metrics, and review the key pain points in the sales and marketing process to leverage the data to improve.
All right. On to strategy 7. So last but not least, it's all about personalizing conversations with your leads based on how they find you. We talked about that power of personalization earlier, with the consumers more likely to purchase from those companies that provide a tailored experience. However, many marketing and sales teams still struggle to make that personalized experience happen for their customers, despite our customers really leaving us wonderful signals in the way they find us. Think such as the way they are in the sales funnel or what pain points they're facing. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, are you aware and track how your leads find your sites, so that you can use these data points to personalize your marketing campaigns and your sales outreach? So let's think of examples of what is possible on that next slide. For example, based on the pages your customers land on and view, you could personalize your chatbot communication or create targeted pop-up banners, right place, right time, to give your customers more relevant content. Or you could think about optimizing your retargeting campaigns that Neil just talked about by using, for example, web form data you collected earlier on. So there are so many opportunities could go after. We at Pipedrive went through a learning curve here as well. So a little case study on the next slide. Our sales teams used a chatbot feature that wasn't really well connected with our CRM, and therefore not sending the right signals. Where have the leads come from and what signals do they leave? Therefore leading to a number of inefficiencies in the process. And so the sales teams then turned this around by combining our Pipedrive CRM with our Lead Booster add-on, a scheduler, and a chatbot to really streamline that lead qualification process and improve qualifications and the customer experience first and foremost as part of this. And that all resulted in over 1,000 additional qualified leads right after the implementation and a 30% improved trial to paid conversion, which is frankly music to my ears. So seriously good. And so the question now is, how can you go about it? So on the next slide, let's look at a number of steps you can take. So first of all, start with your CRM, right? And integrate, as we said before, as many tools as possible to really get a good data flow. And then from there, analyze that data to identify the pain points that customers leave you, as well as the signals they leave you that give you personalization opportunities. A good tip here is to start small, maybe in one area, maybe 2 areas, with a test, right? Hypothesize around it, like what could we do about these signals that they've just left us? And then as you see the tests start, to form into winners, use those wins, implement, and really grow. And then repeat again. But one element to be mindful about, I know we talked a lot about personalization today, is do personalization only to create value for the customer, not for personalization's sake. Because if your customer perceives your tailored approach that you've now built as frankly an intrusion to their privacy, it's no longer of value to them. So be measured with that customer experience in mind, frankly using the data on where leads have come from to personalize as strategy number 7. So 7 strategies here, but I think there's some booster and bonus material, so I hand over.
All right. Well, yep. I'm the CEO of Saleshive, and I'm a customer of both NP Excel and Pipedrive. And yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about why I chose them as my go-to partners. So just stepping back a little bit, talk about Saleshive. We're a sales development outsourcing company. I started the company in 2016. I bootstrapped the company from 1 employee to we've got over 200 US reps and another couple hundred overseas. And we're going to do 15 million in sales this year. And we're running sales development campaigns for over 200 B2B service companies. So I consider myself a pretty well-rounded marketer. Learned a lot on the inbound side, but we're focused on the outbound side, which is kind of outbound cold emails, cold calling, LinkedIn outreach. So those are kind of our 3 main verticals that companies hire us to reach out to their markets. So going into NP Digital here, yeah, they're definitely the best in the business. So I'm pretty familiar with SEO. I started it all on my own and got to the point where I needed someone to help out. So that's where I looked to NP Digital. They've been helping us grow our backlink profile via guest posting. Which is they're helping write articles, submitting them to blogs, and asking in return, asking for a link back to our website. And the goal of that project is to grow domain authority. So we rebranded in 2020 to Saleshive. So we started with a domain authority of 0. And over the last 2 years, NP Digital has helped us get to a domain authority of 40, which is pretty good for 2 years in the making here. They also help with on-page optimization. So going through, looking through all the on-page SEO and making sure that we're using the right keywords, we're using the right keyword density, we're using enough content, we're using internal linking. So these are pages linking to other pages on our website. And they're also helping with our advertising campaign. So they're running our entire Google advertising campaign, and CRO stands for conversion rate optimization. And so it's a little bit different than on-page optimization, where you're actually more focused on the conversion instead of getting the user onto the site. You're focused on, all right, now that the user's on the site, how do we convert them from an unknown visitor to a known visitor? And usually that's in the form of a form, a download, and getting them into our pipe drive. So talking about pipe drive here, why we chose pipe drive. I'm a kind of trained Salesforce admin. I know the ins and outs. I can build you the most robust Salesforce environment possible, but we chose pipe drive, and it's because it's lightweight, intuitive, and easy for sales reps to adopt. The problem with having a robust CRM is sales reps don't update it, and then you have this great CRM with inaccurate data, and it's pointless. So it's really important to have a CRM that's easy to use. We love the drag and drop feature of Pipedrive, moving from individual stages, moving from one pipeline to another pipeline, and a couple other things to mention are the automated reporting, activity workflow. So when we drag a deal from a stage to another stage, we can automatically create activities that our sales reps need to then follow up on. And we mentioned it earlier, but we've got a ton of integrations. You can pretty much integrate with any marketing tool, CRM, and if they don't have it, they integrate with Zapier, or you can zap over data from all your different CRMs. One thing I wanted to really highlight that's been great for us using Pipedrive is the ability to create multiple pipelines. Kind of the traditional school of thought with sales is you have your opportunity pipeline and that's it. But it can expand a lot farther than that. So we're using 5 or 6 pipelines in Pipedrive right now. The first being potentials. So these are leads that have filled out a form, asked for more information, raised their hand, and we haven't booked the meeting. So we've got a whole pipeline process just for this potential stage where we haven't gotten them to a sales meeting, but we're doing consistent follow-ups using targeted messaging to get these potentials to become actual deals in our sales pipeline. Then from there, we use a sales pipeline, kind of your traditional opportunity pipeline, meeting set, meeting held, qualified, opportunity, demo, close won, close lost. From there, we actually move it to an onboarding pipeline, where once we won the customer, then we're onboarding the customer. We're moving them through separate stages on the onboarding pipeline, onboarding meeting booked, onboarding meeting held, moving it through all the way to an active customer. And that's where you can kind of use a pipeline to manage your active customers. And then kind of the secondary pipelines from there are offboarding, where you can actually have an offboarding pipeline moving from the active pipeline to the offboarding pipeline. You can be tracking kind of the stages of offboarding. Offboarding is actually an opportunity for sales. So maybe they no longer want to be using your specific product, but maybe you have partnerships with other products that they need, and you can actually use that as a sales opportunity to continue getting revenue from clients that you've lost. And we have one last pipeline for hiring. So we're tracking our hiring actually through Pipedrive, which is awesome. And yeah, just to highlight kind of the results of our inbound campaigns run by NP Digital. You can kind of see starting in 2021, very little inbound traffic, and just really just hammering SEO on a monthly basis. It really starts to ramp up. SEO is one of those things where you have to keep investing. You have to keep investing. It's not one of these things where you'll pay for it once and you'll be set for life. No, you have to keep creating content, keep updating your advertising, keep updating your keywords, keep analyzing your search traffic. So it's one of those things where you may not see your return on investment for SEO for a year, because you may be going after high target keywords that are very popular. So we've kind of finally broken away from the noise, and we're starting to rank for the top of our target keywords, and it's all because of NP Digital. And just going into our weekly meetings, you can kind of see our weekly sales meetings going up, where we're holding 20 sales meetings a week, and just 3 weeks ago we had 69 sales meetings booked. A little bit dip from there, but the growth curve is clear, and that is represented in our sales growth as well. We tripled the company last year, and we're on pace to double the company this year. And this is just our Pipedrive dashboard, kind of showing off the great interface in Pipedrive, our quarterly growth, and this is all kind of very intuitive reporting inside Pipedrive that we love. All this is broken down by sales rep. All this is broken down by source, by time period. So just wanted to highlight that a little bit.
All right, so we discussed the 7 strategies that drive great results for both marketing and sales. Here's a quick recap of it. We have the slides online in case you need them, so I won't bore you by going through each of them all over again. But just implement one of the things. If you implement one of them, you'll see better results. And if you want to work with either of us, just scan any of these 2 QR codes, and it'll end up driving you to our website. But yeah, let's dive right into some Q&A.
Hey everyone, Barbara here from Neil's marketing team. I have some questions from the audience, and the first one of them is actually from someone who was commenting on domain authority, which is something you mentioned, Brandon. We got you a lot of results on that. So Vikas is the person asking, do you have any strategies to increase domain authority?
Well, domain authority is really how many higher ranking websites are pointing to your website. So backlinking is probably the number one. I think some other things are considered, kind of how users are interacting on your website. But it's a grind of building backlinks. And really you're targeting backlinks with greater domain authority than your domain authority. So building out, now that we're at 40, we're targeting websites with domain authority of 50 to point back to our website. And we recently got a couple 90s, and those are what really move the needle. We're moving about 1 domain authority a month. So it is a grind, and we're investing like 15, 20,000 a month in backlinking.
Got it. Next question is, I think, for Hydroom. They're asking, what advantages does Pipedrive offer, since there are a lot of different CRM platforms out there?
Absolutely. I think the one that absolutely stands out is, as Brendan already pointed out, the ease of use. It's super intuitive. It's, you jump into the trial, you immediately understand how to use it. You can immediately kind of get working on it, and really kind of be action oriented and driven and drive your pipeline this way. But also the point we've made in the 7 strategies is, how important it is that your tools that you use integrate with other tools that you have in your ecosystem. And so Pipedrive at the moment offers 300 integrations to other tools, but is also building its own suite. So I mentioned, our campaigns coming up, the marketing automation kind of meeting sales. So in a few days' time, that's exactly what's going to happen, where in the ecosystem itself, we're now bringing elements together so that you have your sales CRM, you have your lead booster, you have your campaigns coming, the marketing automation tool. So check it out. I think the ease of use is definitely the key point, so that you can actually get the job done that you're here to do, rather than being worried about how to use the tool itself.
Nice. That's really important. Now, next up for Neil, from a sales perspective, what are some primary things I should be looking for when selecting a marketing agency?
Yeah, so the big thing is can they end up driving you qualified leads? Not leads. Everyone always looks like, oh, I need X leads, and if I convert X leads to Y pitches and Y pitches close at X rate, then I'll make, this much money. And it's not about how many leads you get, it's about how many qualified leads you get. Yes, of course, more better, but they need to be super qualified, because the last thing you want to do is bombard your sales team with a ton of leads. And what you'll find out is if you're giving them a lot of leads, yes, even if they're getting a lot of qualified leads, but they're also getting a lot of irrelevant leads, their overall closing rates and their numbers will go down, because they're spending too much time focusing on leads that aren't driving revenue and not enough time on the leads that should actually be closing.
Absolutely. Next question is by Pedro. He's asking, how do you handle fresh leads? Do you engage first in a meeting or a brief presentation from the company in a PDF? Or even would you recommend a different approach? And I guess anyone here could answer. So
I can jump in. So what we do is we work really closely with the sales team, like I mentioned, and we initially pass the communication to the sales team. So there's a very strategic outreach cadence that sales uses to try to convert them for 2 weeks. So we try to do that in-person contact. If they do not convert through that process, then it goes back to marketing, and we follow up with kind of the marketing style communications that give them the information that they could have gotten with the sales rep.
All right. We have, from a sales perspective, I thought this one was interesting. What are some effective ways of upselling my current customers through marketing efforts?
So we mentioned remarketing. I mentioned that during this webinar. Remarketing is one of the easiest ways. Also send them emails. Also do webinars for your existing customers, in-person events, getting on the phone, calling them. These are all effective ways. And with remarketing ads, you can schedule calls. You can just send them to landing pages that sell them for you, or you can do VSLs. But these are all things to test out.
Yeah, from a B2B perspective, you usually have an account manager, a CSM. They're really an effective sales tool for growing your sales with your current customer base. So I know NP Digital did a great job with that, getting us not just doing our SEO, but our rep David ended up selling us on advertising as well.
Yeah. And just to add, I think, coming back to the strategies we talked about just earlier, it's all about understanding what your customer needs are, the pain points are, and then really kind of use the signals they are sending you to market to them, right? You're here to solve customer needs and customer pain points in your various channels and communications, but key is that it's relevant to them in everything you do.
Last one. I'm going to leave it open for anyone who wants to answer. What is the biggest lesson you learned by not having a properly aligned sales and marketing team?
You waste money. You
And
waste
time.
money, time. Just have it aligned. People don't do it because they want to. They do it because it works.
Yep.
Perfect. Well, lastly, it's not a question, just a comment, but I thought you'd like to hear it, Neil. It's by Amit, and he's saying thank you for the webinar. He says he follows our website and YouTube channel, and because of that, he reached 15 million views across YouTube, and he has over 1,800 students as well. So he's saying thank you.
Congrats on the views. That's awesome.
Yeah, we get a lot of messages like this.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you. Bye.
My name is Neil Patel, and I help companies generate more revenue through digital marketing. Entrepreneur Magazine said I was the #1 marketer in the world, and they also said I created one of the 100 most brilliant companies. I started my first website at the age of 16. I took all the money that I earned from working at an amusement park, and I paid a marketing firm. The marketing firm provided no results, and I quickly learned that I wasn't alone. Out of my frustration and from being broke, I had no choice but to learn marketing. My first client was a power supply manufacturer. I helped them generate another $25 million in sales, and from that point, I realized the power of marketing. I helped everyone that I could, and I built my reputation by being honest and over-delivering. I've helped companies like Google, NBC, Viacom, General Motors, eBay, but nothing's more satisfying than helping small business owners succeed. I founded 4 multi-million-dollar companies, and I've learned all the mistakes that you should avoid. I've written about them on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc., Fast Company, and even on my own blogs. It's so awesome to know that colleges from all around the world are teaching my material in their classroom. Over the years, I've received awards from the President of the United States, the House of Representatives, and the United Nations. People believe marketing is expensive and difficult. Fortunately, that's not true. There is a formula. Even if you don't have a technical bone in your body, you can get results. And my mission is to share this formula with you.